John Pearson in the studio. He is the sixth generation to a farm on a family farm in southern Wisconsin, and also an author. We will learn about his history and about the books that he has out in just a little bit here. Glad to have you on the morning show today, John. Thanks for coming in.
Well, it's good to be here.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I live on a family farm. It was homesteaded by my ancestors in 1854, 6 years after Wisconsin became a state. I'm the sixth generation to farm there. I'm there now with my wife and our three dogs, Lucky, Pepper, and Dottie. We grow corn, soybeans, hay, Christmas trees, and chickens. I grow a lot of hay and sell it to my neighbors. I do have a few cattle, 17 beef steers right now. I'm semi-retired, or I hate to use the word retired, but I'm semi-retired. We had a family sawmill on the property for more than 100 years, and I was a partner with my cousin for 30 years. About 2000 or 2001, we decided it was time to either get bigger or get out, and we both chose to get out. So at that time, I started subbing at area schools. I subbed in Hillsboro, Reedsburg, and Weston. I haven't subbed since COVID. I'm trying to do a better job of farming.
Oh, okay. Where is your farm located, John?
It's in Sauk County. It's between Reedsburg and Ironton. We have a Reedsburg address, a Laval telephone, and we live near Ironton. Ironton's about 4 miles from Cazenovia, right close to the Richland-Sauk County line.
I have to wonder, when you're out working the farm and things like that, are these stories like swirling in your head?
No, I don't really have any idea what I'm going to write until I sit down at the, when I first started, I was writing them out longhand. I first started almost 25 years ago, and it was before I was familiar with the technology that's available today. I have been fighting it for 25 years, but I've finally given up and trying to learn it. But I'm so far behind now, it takes a lot of time to catch up. We have two daughters that help me when I get technology challenged.
You must never, let any grass grow underneath your feet. Seems like you have a lot of things going on.
No, we try to keep busy. My wife also has an art gallery in Laval that is open during the warmer months. It's not open right now.
Let's talk about your books. Your first book, Shaver. How long did it take you to put that together?
Well, I started right around the year 2000. I was at that time subbing and farming, and so I didn't have a lot of time. Sometimes I would write. The month of March seemed to be a good month for me to write. There's not much to do outside, or it's too muddy to do anything outside. And so I did a lot of work in March. And then after that, we have about 2 acres of lawn to mow and growing crops. I kept busy without writing. So sometimes I would even go almost 2 years between writing, and then I'd get the urge and write for a week or two.
So you didn't actually have the idea of where it was going to go until you actually sat down and positioned yourself to write then?
That's correct. I didn't. And I right now I'm even working on a third novel, and I have an idea of where it's going to go, a little more than I did before, but I think I know what's going to happen, but I'm not sure.
Tell us a little bit about the book Shaver and what that entails.
Okay, Shaver, it introduces all the characters. Shaver and his wife Connie live on a farm between the village of Wonder and Wonder Lake. And Shaver is a jogger or a runner, as I was, and some of his running experiences are incorporated into the book. But the story starts during March, and there's an accident at Wonder Lake where 2 young boys drown, and it's not murder, it's an accident, but one of the parents one of the parents of one of the boys, would like to hold Shaver's brother, JJ, who is the county sheriff, responsible. And before long, a murder does occur, and Shaver, JJ, and Shaver's good friend, Steve Hardy, who Shaver calls Gulp, try to solve the case.
You have this mystery kind of around the farming community as well. I don't know that that's been done a lot over the years, has it?
No. I try to write a book, or I'm trying to write books that don't have lurid sex scenes. They don't have prolonged car chases or gun battles. There's a lot of family values stressed, and the names of all the chapters in all the books so far are foods. So what Shaver eats, his different meals are all explained. And some of the meals Shaver himself even cooks.
Could you give us some examples of those culinary delights?
His wife works at a school. She's an assistant, an administrative person at a school. And one day in the summer school, she brings home gazpacho, which is a Mexican soup, and it's usually eaten cold. And Shaver eats it cold, and there's some left over. He's usually on his own for lunch, and so for lunch, a couple days later, he incorporates the gazpacho with some hamburger and makes a kind of chili. Every Tuesday, Shaver and his brother, JJ, meet at their mother's bar. There are 3 bars in the Village of Wonder. There's the Wonder Where, the Wonder When, and the Wonder Why. His mother owns and operates the Wonder Why. The Wonder Why got its name because of the railroad tracks came from Chicago, and they divided at Wonder. One track went north to northern Wisconsin, and one track went west toward the Twin Cities. And the railroad closed. They abandoned the tracks, and his mother bought the building, which was the depot originally, but she named it the Wonder Why. And every Tuesday, she makes a special lunch for her 2 sons. And the local patrons know that Tuesday is her day with her sons, so they don't come to the bar on Tuesday for lunch.
How big of an area or how big of a town is Wonder?
Wonder is unincorporated, and I really haven't defined yet how many people live there now. Back in its heyday, when the railroad was running, there were 10 to 12 trains coming through per day. There was a cheese factory, there was a stockyards, and there was a dairy plant where they bottled milk and made ice cream. But since the demise of the railroad, some of those businesses have been closed. There still is a cheese factory, and Shaver and JJ's brother-in-law, who's married to their sister, owns the cheese factory.
Have you had a town in mind when you concocted Wonder?
I really haven't. A lot of people that have read the book think I was thinking of Laval, but those people are mostly from Laval.
You talk about this, and it's a theater of the mind, obviously, when you read the book, but have you ever thought about if somebody developed a screenplay for it and put it on TV or the movies?
I guess that's maybe every author's dream, that somebody will buy their book or want to make their book into a movie. Nothing has happened to me so far.
Let's talk about it. It's a murder mystery, but you also have some comedy rolled up in it as well.
It's subtle comedy. Some things that I think are funny, not everyone thinks is funny. One instance is Shaver is mowing the lawn, and he gets the lawnmower stuck. And he goes and gets his skid steer to pull the lawnmower out, and he gets the skid steer stuck. So then he goes and gets another tractor And as he's pulling the skid steer out, the worst thing that possibly could happen happens. And some people might think, well, he gets the big tractor stuck, and that's not it. And some people might think the skid steer tips over, and that's not it. The worst thing that can happen is that your wife can come home and see that you're stuck.
Yeah. Do you speak from experience then?
That is an experience that I have gone through, yes.
So as you read the book, you're going to, kind of be taken in by this murder. Is it kind of like a situation where you might think that one person is guilty and then you find out later they're not?
Well, there are multiple people who have a grudge against the person that is killed, and but the person that perpetrates the murder, the murderer, it's somewhat of a surprise to most people.
Okay, so we shouldn't read the last page first then.
Not if you want to read the whole thing.
Okay.
No, not if you want to catch the humor and the romance.
Oh, there's some romance too.
Well, JJ's brother is a widower. His wife died very young. He has two young children, two daughters that are very close to Shaver and his wife Connie. But Connie is somewhat of a matchmaker, and there's a young assistant principal at the school that she tries to line up with her brother-in-law JJ.
Were you back in school really big on English and writing?
Well, I went to the University of Wisconsin and I majored in English, but my first job was in New York City, where I was a venereal disease epidemiologist. The venereal disease epidemiologist works in a clinic in New York anyway, at that time, which was 50 years ago, and we don't treat the patients, but we interview them after they've been treated by doctors. And what we would try to do was to find out who they might have got the disease from and who they might have given the disease to. And then after we get the names of the people that they might have given it to or got it from, we would go out in the slums and ghettos of New York City and Brooklyn and try to find those people and encourage them to come into the clinic. I did that for a year, and then I got a transfer and did the same thing in Anchorage, Alaska for a year.
Which would be a totally different setting than New York
City. Completely.
My goodness. Yeah, with your degree, I wouldn't suspect that you would have that line of work.
Well, English is pretty broad, and at the time, I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't think I had the patience to be a teacher. I thought I would probably end up in jail for hitting somebody, so there were other jobs. At the time, when I interviewed for the job, they gave me the choice of Chicago, Cleveland, or New York City. And my wife and I were living in Madison, and we were afraid that if we went to Chicago, our parents would be trying to get us to come home every weekend or two. And Cleveland was not very highly regarded at the time. And I had a cousin in New York, and we thought that would be a good place to start our lives.
Why did you wind up back in Wisconsin?
Well, after a year in Alaska, we were under a lot of pressure from, not a real lot, but some pressure from our parents. We had the only grandchild on either side of the family at the time, and when are you going to be home? And the funding for the job that we did in Alaska kind of ran out, and I'd like to say we did a good job, but we really didn't do a lot, but it was a one-year grant.
The life pace was a little bit slower when you came back to Wisconsin. Did you like that a little bit better?
I've sometimes regretted leaving Alaska. It was pretty exciting. That was just before the pipeline was built, so there was a lot of activity there. And I'm sure that if we had stayed, we would have been able to find good jobs.
Have you been an avid reader through your life, John?
Yes, I have. I read a lot. Right now, I'm I read the newspaper every day, and I'm reading a couple of books now. One is by Tom Kupsch, a Richland County resident. He wrote about Dr. Evermore, who sculptures are down across from Badger Ordnance, and a book by Dennis Lehane, Mystic River.
What type of book do you prefer?
The Mystic River is a murder mystery, but it's a lot gorier than what I write. And the one about Dr. Evermore just explains the sculpture and the life of Tom Every, who worked with at the House on the Rock.
Okay. Do you model your writing style after?
I try not to.
Uh-huh.
I try not to. I've read a lot of Sue Grafton also. Sue Grafton wrote the A is for alibi, B is for burglar. She went through the entire alphabet until Y, and then tragically she passed away.
Huh. I did not know that. We'll have to look that up. Getting Lucky is your second book. And when did you write this one, John?
Well, the first one I finished in February of 24, and I started on the second one right away. Getting Lucky can be taken many ways, but actually the cover has a picture of a dog on it, and Shaver and Connie come home from the 4th of July fireworks and find this dog on their porch, and they name him Buddy, but the two girls, the daughters of his brother, JJ, liked Lucky better, so they changed the name to Lucky.
So the characters, they just carry on from
It's
Shaver.
the same characters in both books, yes. The second book takes place about 2 months after the first one ends about Memorial Day, and the second one takes place 4th of July weekend.
I like the fact that you've got a definite end. You know, you must solve the murder mystery in the first one, and then you go on to another story.
Yes, that's it exactly. I try to continue the same characters, but not let too much time pass away. Although the third book, it's going to be a year from. It's going to be again 4th of July weekend.
The characters get a chance to expand, and the reader kind of gets a lot to get a chance to learn about the characters a little bit more in depth. Then, don't
yes, we're trying to do that, or I'm trying to do that. Get a little more background and tell about what forms the way they think they do, and where they've been in the past. It hasn't. I haven't really explained very much about Shaver's wife Connie's family, so that's what I'm going to try to do in the third book. Also, there's going to be more explanation of some of the businesses in Wonder in the third book, the depot and the other bars, how they happened to get their names.
Do you write about some of the characters that frequent those establishments as well?
I do. The third book is also going to be kind of a cold case, and a character that was introduced in the second book is going to come forth and present a cold case to JJ that he would like JJ to look into. In the first two books, Shaver, despite JJ telling him to stay away from the cases, that let the police department handle it, Shaver gets involved and actually helps solve the cases.
The farm that he is on, is it a more modern farm, or how would you describe it?
It's a beef farm. He didn't inherit it. He bought it from an uncle, and that that's also going to be explained more in the third book. Shaver and his brother and sister grew up in the city of Wonder, and they spent a lot of time with their aunt and uncle who didn't have any children. And after a while, Shaver and Connie decide that they want to farm.
So it's another murder mystery in the book, Getting Lucky?
Yes. Yes, there is.
So it's kind of an area for murder and mystery and mystique. And
Well, that's pretty close. there were two. JJ had been on the sheriff's department for 9 years, and this is in Shaver. This is the first murder where they didn't know who did it right away. They had been family murders or family killings where a family member killed another member, but this is the first case that he had that wasn't solved the day of. And this story in the second one, in Getting Lucky, is going to be the second case that he has that wasn't solved the day of.
How does he have time in the summertime to go searching out all the clues in a murder mystery?
He doesn't. Sometimes there are several days between where he does any work. He's not a paid consultant or a paid private detective. He's just inquisitive and at times quite intuitive about how people's reactions to different questions and situations.
You have to have alibis for the characters that you're writing about.
We do. We keep present alibis or people that have seen people at other places and can say, well, I was here or he was there and wasn't present where the murder happened.
And there's a definite person at the end or persons of interest?
Yes, yes. This in the second book, it's quite clear who did it. The character is introduced early in the book, but there's no second murder, or there's just one incriminating case.
Did you grow up watching mysteries on TV? Or
I did. I watched shows like Magnum and Mannix. I'm kind of dating myself. Shows that were 50 years ago, but I enjoy them. And right now, I don't watch too much of them because they're just so much gore and not realistic, to me, not realistic situations.
People are really into crime dramas and murder mysteries and things like that. Why do you think that is, John?
I think it's because of the society we live in. That it's just a fast-paced life, and people with the technology today, they just can't slow down. They need fast paces, and the TV shows of today, they are fast-paced and a lot of action.
The books are set in present day then?
No, they take place in it starts in 1985. And the reason for that is because that's before, it's just at the time that the internet is starting and people don't have cell phones or phones that they carry with them. They're still all landlines. But I'm going to have to starting in 85, I think, or 86, is when the internet was first introduced. And so I'm going to have to, if I'm going to continue writing at that time period, I'm going to have to incorporate the internet.
I was going to say, because now it perhaps is easier, with cell phones and tracking and, being able to ping phones and people with cameras on their phones. It's totally different than it was in 1985.
It certainly is. And I do not have a cell phone, so I'm way behind.
I was going to say, you're in the minority there, I think.
I certainly am.
So you're right now writing the third book?
I just started yesterday. I got about 1,500 words. These two books are right around 80,000 words. And so if I would continue at that pace, in 2 months or 3 months, I should have it completed.
1,500 words, that's a pretty good day for you then,
it takes 3 or 4 hours. I do not have an agent. I do not have an editor. I have a couple of friends, or several friends, I guess, who read my book and say, there should be a comma here, this is a compound word, or this word should have hyphens in it, you forgot the period here. So I do have lots of help.
That's good. So what do you write on a computer? Do you have you have a chance to spell check?
I write on a computer. I use Word, and so I can review it and I can send it on to whoever wants to read it and edit it for me.
I've talked to authors that have been on the program before, but do you think that all of us have a book in us that we should be trying to write?
I think just about everyone has a book in them. It's been my goal in life to write a book, and I was really happy when I finished my first one. And now, after the second one, I think there's a third one in me. But I think most people have a book in them. It might be quite a bit autobiographical, but I think if people think about it, I don't know how many people dream about it, but I think it's there.
So how old were you, John, when you published your first book a couple of years ago, if I may ask?
Right now I'm 77, so my first book, I guess I was probably 74, and this one was, the second one, Getting Lucky, was published in December of 25, just a month or month and a half ago, and from the time the book is finished, that's when the work begins. The real work begins, getting it through the publisher and getting it distributed. I'm working with an independent press. I am my own publisher. I have to pay for everything, and there's no upfront money given to me, and most of the distribution is up to me. I don't get paid until the book sells.
And speaking of which, how can people get a hold of the books?
The book is available at most bookstores, Barnes & Nobles. They might not have it on hand, but they can get it for a person in 2 or 3 days. It's available on Amazon. People can order it online and have it shipped directly to them. And it's available on Kindle, so people can get it through Kindle and have it that same day as soon as they pay for it.
I understand you're going to be doing some presentations.
I'm going to be doing presentations at 3 or 4 libraries. The Richland Center Library, we haven't set a date, but it's going to be this spring. I'm going to be at the Rock Springs Library. I'm scheduled to be at the Reedsburg Library and the Laval Library. I'm working on the Boscobel Library, and maybe even the Viola Library, depending upon how people how it's received.
Indeed. So a little question and answer going on? And things.
Well, what I do is I speak about the book. I give my background, much as I did here, and then talk about the writing process and the publishing process, and then answer any questions that the audience might have, and then offer the book for sale to the people who are there.
When you're writing, do you put yourself in the character like Shaver or JJ? Or
I do not, but some of the people that have been reading the book or editing the book for me have started to call me Shaver, and they call my wife Janice Connie.
Okay. And so, as I mentioned, you've taken this up a little bit later in life, so this is keeps you sharp, right?
I hope it does.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
Sounds like it. And then more books in the hopper.
We'll see how the third one goes. So far, it hasn't been a money-making process. It's more of a hobby.
Mm-hmm. A fun hobby, no doubt about it.
It is fun.
Really good to meet you, John. We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Indeed. And so we want to hope that people will get a hold of the book. John Pearson is his name. Shaver is the first book. The second book is Getting Lucky. And have you titled the third book yet, John?
I haven't. Shaver's going to run a marathon, and I'm thinking of Marathon or Marathon Man, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. And did you run some marathons in your running days?
I've ran about 30 marathons in my running career.
Oh, my goodness.
I ran in about 8 different states, a marathon in about 8 different states. The main one that I ran was the one in Duluth, Minnesota, Grandma's Marathon, which is held Father's Day weekend in June. And I ran that about 14 times.
My goodness. Talk about perseverance and, mind over matter and things like that. It's what it takes.
It is.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, John. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
John Pearson joining us here on WRCO. Look for the books, Shaver and Getting Lucky, and Pearson is spelled Pearson. You can look him up and find out more online.